Hello again, and welcome back to Complexity Leadership for Practitioners. In this presentation, I'm going to be looking at distributed leadership. First, let's take a look at team structures. If you have a small team, it might have one designated leader. A larger team may have a more complicated reporting structure. The formal team structure may look like this. In this diagram, every red dot is a leader. But these structures don't show leadership. They show responsibility. That is important, but it's not what we're interested in right now. Now we're going to work through an example. This is a team which is involved in delivery, possibly a project or any other activity which requires a structured team. This team have been pulled together to deliver a project of some kind. In the formal structure, it looks like this. Well, in fact, the team is buried in that structure diagram on the right. If we remove the rest of everything that's going on, we can see the team and the leaders that influence them. They're in a leadership matrix. The leaders on the left are functional leaders. They have responsibility for all people with that functional job description. They maintain continuity and quality across a much wider team, but they don't normally get involved in the day-to-day team leadership. The leader on the top is responsible for the delivery of the project. Let's focus on one team member. So this team member needs 5 leadership modes to be effective. But direction and strategic administration are not day-to-day interactions or specific to delivery. So we're just going to ignore them for now. An adaptive leadership should be rarely needed if things are going well. And anyway, it might not involve them directly. So that leaves 2 leadership modes, and we need to know who is the enabling leadership and tactical administration coming from. Well, this diagram isn't very helpful because the only leaders shown on it might not be involved in the day-to-day communication with the team member. As I said earlier, this diagram shows responsibility. Now, for the example of that one team member, let's have a look at their leadership network. They work in a group of 3. There's a red circle around the person we're talking about here. They're overseen by a senior team member. Who talks to the planner to report progress. And for technical help, they go to a mentor in another team. But who's the enabling leader? We know what leadership they're receiving, and we need to look for both tactical administration and enabling leadership for their project work. We saw the planner and senior team member are looking after the tactical administration, but where's the enabling leadership coming from? the mentor in the other team doesn't know what the goals of this project are. They're not accountable in this project. Who knows if their advice is relevant or useful? This situation is risky. Let's wrap up some of the key points of distributed leadership. People need 5 types of leadership to be effective. You can get these from anyone suitable. It doesn't need to be a formal leader, but the leadership needs to be balanced and relevant. If they don't get the leadership they need, they'll look for it elsewhere. And if they can't find it, they'll become frustrated and disillusioned. That's the end of this session. I hope you found it interesting and will join me for the next presentation.